At the end of last week and the beginning of this week, the name Sarah Everard became known to all of us. Sarah Everard went missing from Clapham in London, and then a week later a police officer was arrested and charged with her murder. Well, last Monday at the Welsh Government coronavirus update, the Education Minister Kirsty Williams wanted to put on record her deepest sympathies to the family of Sarah Everard. But she also said this. She said, "Can I say that we really are well placed in the education system in Wales to address these points? Only last week we saw the passage in our national parliament of our groundbreaking new curriculum, which will mean that every child in Wales will be entitled to relationship education. I honestly believe that that exposure to high quality education that looks at respect, consent, and our roles as individuals in a safe and secure relationship is really important and will create the societal change that we need for the longer term." Not much is known about the newly named Relationships and Sexuality Education, or RSE, which is part of the new curriculum for Wales. It hasn't been published, and so it's quite a bold assertion that it will bring about societal change. What is known is that it will be compulsory for all pupils in Wales, and parents will no longer be able to remove their children from classes. What is known too is that all existing safeguards around sex education are being taken away. Kirsty Williams has said that an RSE code will be written, although again, as yet, nothing has been published. This little graphic from the Christian Institute shows some of what's been scrapped. The third bullet point there says that pupils must be protected from teaching and materials which are inappropriate, having regard to the age and the religious and cultural background of the pupils concerned. Well, if Wales's groundbreaking new curriculum really is going to bring about a high quality education that looks at respect and consent, surely it's imperative that an RSE code be published and scrutinised. And so you might think it's good and reassuring to hear that respect and consent will be part of the new curriculum. But surely it would be better. Surely it would be more reassuring right now, at a time when the right to withdraw pupils from sex education is being taken away. Surely what would be better is to already have an RSE code to assure parents that what their children will be taught is appropriate and safeguards are in place to protect them. But having said all of that, is the best answer we have to avoid violence against women, is the best answer we have education? Did the murderer of Sarah Everard not know about respect and consent because there was once a time when those things weren't part of relationship education? Is that what we think? Surely there's more that can be done. When I was a teacher, I'd often find this frustrating. The answer's always education. Here's something else for schools to sort out. But surely there are problems in society outside of a school's control. For example, what about the easy access to pornography? A recent article in the Times said, something we probably all know, 11-year-old boys are watching porn. But then it added this: that's their sex education. Whatever's going to be taught in our schools, whilst children have smartphones and pornography is free and easily available, there's a problem. Melanie Phillips, in an article this week, wrote this: "It's not just that pornography objectifies women, it's that the images circulating on social media are as depraved and bestial as they are now widely available. They persuade boys and men that the physical and sexual abuse to which they see women being subjected in such images is normal behaviour for both men and women." In another recent article on the website Unheard, Louise Perry wrote this. In 2010, researchers analysed more than 300 popular porn scenes and found that 88% contained physical aggression, overwhelmingly committed by men against women. The online porn of today makes the Playboy magazines of the 1960s look laughably tame. Boys and girls are now typically encountering porn for the first time during adolescence, and copious research reveals a correlation between porn consumption during sexual development and changes in attitudes and behaviour, including increased sexual aggression in boys. Is this what liberation was supposed to look like? A recent survey of British men under 40 asked respondents if they had ever committed certain acts of violence or aggression against their partners during sex. Spitting on them, gagging them, slapping them, or strangling them. 71% said yes. A third of those men admitted that they did not ask for consent beforehand. A majority felt that porn had influenced their sexual tastes. You can teach respect and consent in school, but it's an uphill battle with the prevalence of violent pornography that normalises behaviours. You can teach consent and respect in school, but all of that pornography is free and legally available, normalising behaviours that seem anything but respectful. The easy solution is schools. More education, put respect and consent on the curriculum. But there is as well this problem of pornography. And it seems there is an unwillingness by government to do anything about it. You might remember there were plans to introduce an age verification system for online pornography. But the government abandoned those plans. There were problems with the technology and also concerns raised by campaigners who were worried about privacy, about details of what users had watched. And so it seems all plans remain shelved. And those concerns trump the initial concerns about the impact of pornography on children. It seems perhaps, on the whole, there's an unwillingness to really get to grips with what's a very obvious problem. Kirsty Williams is yet to publish an RSE code, but there is a ready published Relationships and Sexuality Code in the Bible. There in the Bible are the Maker's instructions. There, in the book that the Creator has given, we find that sex is good, but it also has a context. And we even find this, the God-given context for sex between a man and a woman, which is marriage, that points beyond itself to the greatest love of all, the love of Jesus Christ for his people. The reason women are unsafe is this. Let me quote Melanie Phillips again. She said this, "Women are unsafe in large measure because the culture has become degenerate." Now, that's certainly seen in the prevalence of porn. The way the Bible would put that is this. It's to do with what the Bible calls sin. But the problem of sin is what the love of Jesus is all about. He came to save his people from sin's guilt. He came to save his people from sin's consequences. And he came to save his people from sin's power.